And welcome back. Another the Down and Back Cornhole podcast. This week, the name gets pulled from the bucket again. Another bucket list guest, Jimmy McGuffin, on the show this week. Fantastic talk with Jimmy, away from Cornhole at his other thing in life. You'll get to see out there because he talks about that. Great talk with him. Some stuff that came up this past week. Finally, myself getting back to play Cornhole. I headed down the 401 to Peterborough last weekend for their third annual Ugly Sweater Con tournament. I also have an Ugly Sweater contest won by Mr. Seymour Hubbard. Oh, yeah, that was not a full sweater. Anyway, great time down there as always. If you ever get a chance to play in Ontario, check out Peterborough Cornhole, Adam Hubbard, Nicole Hubbard down there. They just do fantastic. On the day, taking in the only winners on that day for the Ugly Sweater Con tournament is the kids, because they took in over 100 toys and then another 31, over $3,000 for the food bank and the Salvation Army down there. So it's a great group of people. I have to say, fantastic time. Not one ego down there. And also for a tournament of 75 people, not one person wore earbuds down there. That's just a pet peeve of mine. Anyway, myself, if you haven't seen my videos, I've done the short videos on TikTok and that there. Cornhole Boot Camp now. I'm now part of that with Michelle Thompson, Ryan Smith. It's kind of working a bit. I usually finish down the bottom. Peterborough, I finished top 8, and for a brief while, I was ahead of Megan St. Thomas. That's all that mattered on the day. I was ahead of Megan for a bit, and then she passed me. But anyway, so great time down there. And some people thought, I've heard some people talk before, when we were getting bigger here in Ontario, that, we started having multiple tournaments on the same weekend. I'm thinking, we can't have, you can't do multiple tournaments on a weekend. Last weekend proved us wrong, because Cannington had a tournament almost full. St. Thomas had a tournament. I believe they were full. Peterborough had a tournament, 75 people. Cornhole is big enough here in Ontario now and getting across Canada. You can have multiple tournaments in the same province on the same day. That's all. We've got enough people, got enough players, got enough great players to fill up all these tournaments. And gotta say, Cannington, the winners in the open division doubles were ACL PDC player Steve Pohl and his partner Glenn McNutt, and then singles winner, local bag thrower Connor Weiss picked up the singles division in Cannington. Over in St. Thomas, doubles went to PDC players Chris Tremblay and Jamie Cowan. And then singles went to another PDC player, Mr. Bernie Portalessi. Probably said that wrong, didn't I, Bernie? I'm going to hear from your mom, aren't I? Anyway, that's out there. That what happened last weekend out of the way. Now, if you follow me on Facebook at all, hit the follow, hit the like on Facebook. You may have seen that I posed a question the other day, about leagues and payout structure and all that there. Now, I want to say that I was not going after league directors or people that run league. I was just kind of putting out there because I've been hearing a lot of people talking about payout structure, because that's just wherever league you go to, it doesn't really matter. You're always hearing people complaining about what payout. People that run leagues, they take the time to find the place, the venue to play. Sometimes, no, depending on where you can go, you might be able to get a venue for free, as long as you get a certain quota at the bar. but they're putting time, they're spending money on tablets, on boards. That money has to be recouped somehow, and also for time, either running a website or doing their stuff on Facebook or whatever it may be, doing whatever. Running a league isn't just showing up, putting some boards out, let's go. You have your other director's fee or whatever that they have to pay. So it's running a league just isn't a no cost affair. There's a cost involved to running it, either time away from their family. I've watched Matt Plow do it with KW Cornhole for so long that he just puts so much into it that time has to be recouped, because where are the boards going? The boards are getting stored someplace. You got to take storage up someplace, either in a house or some other place. Tablets have to be recharged. Where's that energy coming from? You got to pay for the hydro for that there. Gas to and from that they're transporting all this stuff all over the place. So it's, people that run leagues, they deserve a little cash on the side as well too for what they do to help us play, because if they don't, who will step up? And I'm going to have a future show coming up after Christmas, talking about all that there. We're going to bring a couple of people who run leagues or run successful leagues or league nights on to talk about that, just to see what goes on with behind the scenes with running a league. It's not just showing up, giving your money. There's a lot more else to do with that there. So that trying to think what else I have going on here. Coming up, we have the ACL Central Conference tournament coming up in January. I want to say January 13, 14, 15. I'll have to look at the phone to check and see just when that there is. Yes, January 13, 14, Sox final. Southern Ontario Cornhole Series final, January 15th to Sunday, all at the Niagara Falls Convention Center. Same place that the Open was in, but just not the same hall. We're in a smaller venue, so that's why if we've heard some complaints about, why the cutoff, why the smaller field, don't have the same amount of room. You can't fit all those hundreds of people in a smaller room. So that's why there's the cutoff on the number of participants. We'll see how that goes. That'll be my first point. Well, it will be my first ACL tournament of the year. We'll see how that goes. And I'm hearing there may be, well, if you're there, you have to watch for it. Maybe a special guest coming to that tournament as well. Can't talk about it, but there might be one coming up there as well. Other thing is, big week for the show. You may have seen that post on social media as well. And it's all due to you people that either watch, listen. Well, most people right now, this one part is people that listen. Audio downloads. I've hit over 30,000 for this year. I wasn't sure if I was going to make it, but I hit 30,000, and then that also crossed me the 50,000 lifetime, the 3 years of the show that's been on. So thank you for that, for downloading and listening to what I have to spew coming out here. Down the other side, the flip side, the video side, the YouTube side. If you're watching, or even if you're not watching, you're listening, head over to YouTube. We're at 390 subscribers right now, trying to get to the 400 number. Once we get to the 400 number, a set of local Warrior bags. This set here, you can get your hands on this here. I haven't thrown this bag yet, and look how broken in it is. It's ready to go, ready to play. That's how local sends out their bags. They're ready to play. They're ready to go on the board and start throwing. Because if you've seen any of those other videos, deck round average is up to 70 now. No more 40s for me. Local. I haven't really thrown the Warriors yet. Throwing mostly local Outlaws, and they're just wow, hole friendly. Even had the comment in Peterborough last week. Somebody, and Johnny Parsons, if you're watching, or anyone wants to message Johnny Parsons, I was told I was the greatest player, one of the people there I've ever seen. There's witnesses and everything. At least one person says it. That's all that matters. So that got that. Sponsors. Let's get a little shout out to the sponsors here. Local Bags. Hit up localbagcompany.com. It'll be going across the bottom of the screen if you want to look at it. But localbagcompany.com. Check out Facebook. They've got a code out right now for 25% off your bags, and they do ship to Canada. Talk to Mr. Meek himself. They do ship to Canada now, and they've been getting a lot of orders from Canada. So don't be the one left out not throwing local bags in Canada. And when you throw in local bags, you want to throw them on JC Cornhole boards. Talk to Jamie. I know he's busy in the shop. I don't even think he went to league night this week because he's too busy in the shop making boards, getting ready for Christmas. Those Christmas orders way out. I know we tried to play the other night. It's not because he was distracted with people messaging for boards, but I did beat him. And so if anyone here sees him or messages him, say, hey, heard you lost the corn dog again. That's the one for the month. But jccornhole.com, Jamie will set you up with whatever boards you want, any kind of custom board you want. Then if you're in Alberta, Edmonton, Sherwood Park to be exact, check out sierrahome.com. Get Darren to come in and help you with any of your home inspections. He'll do it right. He'll even let you know where to store those cornhole boards for the winter so they're not outside getting all wet, and then you have to go to JC Cornhole to buy a new set, but maybe you want to do that. It's up to you. So before I forget, make sure, as I said before, we're almost hitting the 400, so it's right there. The little red button right down there. Hit the subscribe button. Then right about here, there should be a little thumb. Hit the thumbs up for the like. And then make a comment down below on anything you hear on the show here. And share it. Especially if you're watching. Well, I'm never live, but share it. That's all you need to do. Like, share, and subscribe. And then head over to the Facebook page. Give that a follow or a like or even both. And because we're almost hitting, I think I'm like 75 away from 1,000 on that. Make a comment on any of the stuff you see, or just send a message and say, hey, I have a question about this, or I have a comment about that, and I will I'll try and get it on the show, or if it's a question, I'll try and get it answered whenever I can. I will steer you in the right direction. So, without further ado, here is my time. I get to sit down with ACL Pro, Mr. Jimmy McGuffin. And as promised earlier on, we have the man, the myth, the legend. See if I remember to point the right way. Mr. Jimmy McGuffin. Jimmy, how you doing?
Doing good. How are you, Doug?
Not too bad. So before we get into the futuristic stuff, or just the past weekend stuff, let's go way back to when you came up here, got to play with some of us up here in Niagara. And the one thing I wanted to say to you is that everyone on TV, or like your TV appearances or your ACLDN appearances, we know how much of a beloved player you are in the States, right? I kind of did my own unscientific poll up here talking to some of the people. I was like, of the pros that came up from the U.S. for Niagara, who impressed you the most on and off the boards? I'm going to say 90% of the people came back to me within like half a second and said, Jimmy McGuffin, without a doubt. Just the way he was on the boards and the way that he, just would talk to anybody, and just even you going out for food afterwards, and you were just Jimmy. You weren't like a big ACL pro. You were just Jimmy. And I think that's what everyone really liked about you up here.
Well, that's all I can be, is just Jimmy. That's all I try to be. I don't try to be anybody else. I mean, yeah, being an ACL pro that's a big thing, but I don't try to act like somebody that I'm not. I mean, just like I told you before we come on, here I am, just got back from an ACL event, and there I am. That's what I'm doing, getting up cattle, getting ready to take them to the market and get rid of them. It's some my dad had. My mom, she's ready to get rid of them. And we're just, I'm nobody special.
Well, to a lot of the people up here, after they met you, you kind of are, and I think they all wanted to kind of do what Jeff McGarriger would talk about on the ACL broadcast. A lot of people also wanted to lay on the board and have you throw an airmail over top of them to be like one of your grandkids.
I've had a few people ask. We went to one of the nationals last year, and one of the news ladies was there. She laid on the board, and I had to airmail over her.
Well, it's the fun part of cornhole, right? Like
Yep.
if you can't have fun, why play?
Yep.
So we then still talking about Niagara. What was your big takeaway from coming up here? Because I know you probably weren't sure what to expect with some of our players up here. But what was your big takeaway?
I'm telling you, I met some of the nicest people there. I mean, they're like family. I mean, you got Brandon Brown and Tracy. I can't mention everybody. I mean, you got Connor and Dion and just everybody. Everybody there was just super. I mean, just super nice people. Like you said, one night we went out to eat, me and Bernie and heck, Jamie. It was a bunch of us. We all went out and eat and had a good time. That's one thing about it. When you go to these cornhole events, you don't have a lot of time to do other things. You get there, you're stuck there all day.
Yeah.
But I like the way they're doing it now. You kind of got a little extra time in between things, and so you kind of get time to meet other people.
Yeah, you talk about the night with Jamie and Bernie and that. I had to give Jamie a little bit of trouble because he gave me the wrong restaurant. I was at a different place. I was supposed to go with you guys, but he changed his mind last minute, so I had to give him a little talking to.
Well, we went to one restaurant and they didn't want to see us because there were so many and they was about ready to close. So that may have been what it was.
No, it could have been. Yeah, it's fine. It's
still I'm trying to help Jamie out there.
Everything is Jamie's fault. It's all, but actually, and because he's not here to defend himself, I actually beat him twice last night up at the shop. So that's all that matters. I get to beat him like twice a year, and it just so happened both times were last night. Right. So we go into some of them the off-season news. You make the bag change this year. So what kind of led to that, and maybe what is your new preferred bag?
I started out throwing the Ultra Psycho X's, and I really like them. But the last two events, I started throwing the Vipers, just regular Vipers, and I think that's the bag I'm going to throw. I mean, I really like the Viper. I'd like a little faster, but these make me throw the bag, and I don't know. I like the Vipers. I like them pretty well.
And that being said, we from the new bag, the new Vipers.
Yeah.
You then get another new partner, which I think now it's going to be. The senior division is going to really be taking it out on the young kids now with you and Damon together.
Yes, sir. I hope so. We're ready to get this season started. We've played in a few tournaments and starting to figure out how each other plays, and I think we've got it. We're ready.
So then how did that partnership then kind of come together?
Well, I had a partner that I lost a partner last year that wasn't able to play. And then I got paired up with another partner that, well, he didn't show up. So just had kind of a bad season with partners last year. And Philip Hayden retiring, and Damon was he don't live an hour, just a little over an hour from me. And we kind of just started talking about playing together, and we decided it'd be the right thing to do.
Well, maybe it's just Damon likes to keep his competition for singles kind of real close to him to keep an eye on you.
Yeah.
Because he had that with Phil, and now he's got that with you.
Yep.
So then we talk about the seniors division. You're the newest champ for the Open in Virginia Beach with the senior singles.
Yes, sir. Lost my second game to Bob Vonch, and I think I played like 11 games to get back to the finals. Double dip. I done it. I was down 18-2 against Frank Modeling and come back.
Which that's not an easy task to do.
No, no, not at all. Not at all.
So yeah, so you then talk about that grind. You had to go and win the 11 games coming back, because I think that's, just kind of going back to a bit to Niagara. That's what a lot of people up here found, is that cornhole tournaments aren't just a couple hour events like we have up here when we have a regional. You're in for the long haul. You're in for the day when you're at a big event.
Yes, when we get there, like if it starts at 9, we usually get there at 8. Start warming up. I mean, I have to. I can't walk in and just start throwing. But so if we get there at 8, and I think we left, I think it was right at 9 o'clock when we left the venue. So, we've been there 13 hours.
Yep.
That's a long day. That's a lot of games, a lot of standing, a lot of throwing. It wears you down.
Well, yeah, and that's what I found, because my last big event before Niagara was back in Cherokee in 2018 at the finals there. And you kind of forget that for me, going with doing the live feeds, I was there at 8 in the morning. I was the last one out of there like 11 at night.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, I forgot to have lunch, or I forgot to have breakfast, because you've been there all day doing other stuff.
Yeah. Most of the time, just like Friday when we played seniors, I eat breakfast before we went there, and I didn't eat anything till we left.
Yep.
I mean, I just, you don't have time. Some of those lines was long. By the time you get in line and they call you up to a game, you had to get out. So I just never did eat. I never eat nothing until we left there. And that's a big thing too. I mean, you need to kind of eat and drink, not just alcohol either.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. You almost need to hire an assistant, really,
Yeah.
to kind of keep you on the go there.
Yeah, my mom and my uncle and my wife, they came to this one. My mom and my uncle, well, all three of them, they love it. I mean, They love watching me, but like my uncle, he don't just watch me. If I'm not playing, he goes and watch other people. When he comes back, I mean, he's like, oh, Damon lost or Philip won, and he just, he's watching everybody. He loves the game. He's 77 years old. He don't play. He don't try to play, but he loves it.
Well, that's the thing. I think we're starting to get more and more people up here to tournaments, and I think credit to you guys coming up with the Open and really kind of showing what a better player will do during the day or in the tournament, because since then our tournaments have all been like, just everything gets sold out. We've got tournaments that are scheduled for February already that are sold out, right? Like a couple months in advance, that are just regionals, right? So it's I think if we ever do get another Open announced up here and you do come up, I think you may see a bit of change. Might be a little tougher with some of these people.
Oh, I guarantee it. I already see the change in some of the people already. I mean, you've got some good players, very good players.
Yeah, I'm living proof of the one that's went down and everyone else has gone up, because watching. I'm now. That's why I now talk about it, because I can't really do much else.
Yeah, you take Dion and shoot, them guys are good. Brandon, Bernie, you, Jamie. I mean, there's a lot more.
Oh yeah, there's a couple. And the other one that we got to see on that broadcast for the ESPN was Steve Pohl. He got the pro spot. His job changes, and then he's working almost every weekend. So then he can't go to events.
Yeah,
he's the guy that I think he says he's going to be going to events this year, that he could be a little, sneak up on some people that aren't expecting him to do so well.
Yeah, he's a good player.
So,
I had a great time in Niagara. Not to say it because I'm on here with you, but I think that was one of my most memorable and favorite tournaments that I ever went to. Just
I think so, yeah, because everyone was kind of all invested. No one really wanted to leave the venue to really, to go. Because sometimes you see the tournaments where, and I kind of get upset with it, where as soon as someone's out, they're gone. Right? They're not
yeah,
kind of hanging around to check
yeah,
out, watch other people play, or what. And I think in Niagara, people just kind of hung around to see just what will happen.
yeah. Well, it was like when I was there and I was talking to some of the people. They was, that's what they said. They've never been to a tournament that big. Never been to. They walked in and seen that many boards. They was, I was like, oh, this is big, but it's kind of small.
Oh yeah, yeah, and that's the thing, because up here until then, our biggest tournament may have had like 15 sets of boards.
Yeah.
And then to walk into that, it's like, oh my.
Yeah. And then like that, this past weekend had the largest one ever.
Yeah, yeah, that's a goal for us, hopefully. But it's and that's the thing, is that we're kind of catching up, but we're still. I'm going to say about like 10, 15 years behind where you guys are in the States, but we're kind of catching up. But then you're seeing the stuff in Europe. And I've talked with some of those people in Europe and in Australia, and they're talking about how small they are. And I'm like, we were there, Canada was there just 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. And we're going global almost quicker than what I almost expected.
Oh yeah. It's growing fast. I mean, it's growing fast everywhere, not just here, not just there. Like you said, Europe, Australia, everywhere. It's growing.
Yeah. Then speaking of growth, you must have seen a bunch of changes here within the cornhole world. So what are some of the ones that I don't want to say for the bad, but most of the ones that are for the good that you've seen change?
Big one, probably bags. I mean, the bags that's a big change. There's so many different, heck, when I started, it was corn. It was literally corn bags. I mean, and that's why I have that soft pitch, that high arch soft, because when you was playing with corn, they were so fast. The more you played, the more dust come out of them bags, the faster them boards got all the time. And now they change, get sticky. I mean, I don't see how people like Tony Smith, Jacob Trzynski, them guys throw them sticky bags that they throw. I don't see how they can do it.
Yeah.
Tony, he'll give me a bag, say, here, throw them. I cannot get them to move, not an inch. And they make it look so easy the way they throw them up. I mean, I know they don't look easy because they're throwing hard, but I just cannot get it to move. And, but I give them my bags and they struggle a little bit with the slickness. So I guess it's all the same.
Well, it's that incorporation of all these new different throws, these cutter bags, the roll bags that I know that I can't do, but it's just, it's almost, I don't want to say defying logic isn't the right word, but just, science really shouldn't be able to do that much with cornhole.
Yeah, that's a big thing too. That cut and that roll bag. Sorry, I'm not going to try it. Yeah. I can't do it. I'm just going to stick with what I do. It ain't broke, and I ain't going to try to fix it.
Well, exactly, yeah, because when I started playing, and I still do, is I like that first bag. I want to throw that block. Well, that roll shot just, I'm not saying I have the bag standing up like vertical. Then that roll shot's just going to roll right over it.
Yep. Yeah, them guys can roll them. They're good at it.
Yeah. So then, and then the other thing now is the whole. And I think I've seen you wear the earbuds a couple times now. You've seen a lot of people wearing the earbuds to try and block out the sound and that there's I think for me there's sometimes where that's good and it's bad, right? Like it's if you're on a big stage you're fine, but when I see some people up here at just local league nights that they got the earbuds in where we're just playing for fun, and it's it's just you don't need to take it that serious all the time.
Yeah, I don't wear them. I've tried. I can't. I get to listen to music and forget what I'm doing.
Well, I was going to say, I thought I'd seen you do it once or twice, but
yeah, I've done it a time or two, but I didn't like it. I just, I like to hear, I like to talk. And I probably should do it when if I get on the broadcast or anything, because I get to listen to Trey and them over there talking.
Well, and that's the hardest thing from my standpoint, because I think up in Niagara when you were partnered with Jordan Power, I think in the teams event on the Friday night, I think we got there was Brad Billard and myself doing the commentary there, and Jordan even kind of said to us, well, these guys are cheering for the Canadian guys. I was like, well, no, we were just talking about what was going on, right? And it's just, that was, which is, go back to Niagara, that was another fun event with that team event for the U.S. Canada.
Yeah, that was great.
Right, but it's and you and Jordan kind of almost kind of stole the show, except for on the ESPN broadcast there. But I think you guys were in the final of like everything else.
Yeah, I done pretty good. We won the doubles. I got second in the singles. I won the swap.
Yeah. And then you won the team event, which
the team event, yeah,
which was you, Jordan Power, Lori Duell, Miranda Coy,
Chris Kingsbury.
Yeah. Which is another guy.
Finley.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which Chris Kingsbury, like, how good is he? Like, for me, that was the first time I'd seen this guy on the Thursday night pre-tournament that was had in St. Catharines. He came up with Sam Finley, and I'm like, okay, who's this guy? And then you start seeing him throw, and just, it's almost like, I don't want to say that was his breakout, but it was his breakout for people up here.
I never had seen him before.
But wow, just the way he's come on.
Yeah, he was right there at the finals this time.
Yeah,
he's going really good.
And that's the thing, is it's almost every tournament you see a new name come out. That's a younger player, and it's just that you've never seen before.
Yep. I mean, it used to be when you go to a board and they'd call out, and you'd see the name. I don't know them. It's going to be an easy game. Now you go to a board and you don't know them. You better watch out.
Like, you almost have to have like a, like baseball, have like a scouting report against each batter or thrower here, because you got to know what you're kind of in for.
Yeah. It's there's so much talent out there. It's unreal now.
Oh, exactly. And it's just, is that the fun of the evolving of the sport, that's seeing so many other great players? Because I was talking with someone with that, and it's like, you get everyone's talking about the greatest player ever. Have we ever really seen, we've got Matt Guy that people talk about, but have we ever really seen actually the greatest player ever yet? Because of all these other new throws coming out, you just never know.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like any other sport. There's always going to be somebody at some time better.
Yeah. Well, it's like, one of the people I was talking to was saying, like basketball had Kareem, then they had Michael Jordan, then it was LeBron. Well, cornhole's almost got the same thing.
Yep, that's right.
Except some of these new ones coming on are like only 12.
Yeah, that's right. They got a long time in there. Yeah, I've been playing 14 years. I mean, I started when my grandsons was born, the year they was born. And, I've seen a lot of changes, a lot of talent come on. I mean, a lot. And just in the past 2 or 3 years, the biggest change of people, it just grown. It exploded overnight, just thanks to Stacy Moore and the ACL team.
Exactly, yeah, because we that's how we got into it, seeing it. Well, I had first got into it, as many people know, watching the show back infield of Charlotte Motor Speedway. I was hooked on two things that my wife now hates me for: cornhole and moonshine. I mean, I'm infield of Charlotte Motor Speedway, so it's not that bad.
But yeah, I tell you, just since I started playing and the people that I met, there's a lot of people that they're just like family. I guarantee you, if I called them and I needed something, they would be there. And if they're the same, I'm the same way. If they needed something, I'll be there for them. You wouldn't believe the people that I've met. I met a little boy this weekend in Virginia Beach. I can't think of his name, Quincy. I can't think of his last name, but super. I mean, just he said I was his favorite player, and that about made me melt.
Well, and that's the thing is you start to get these fans, and then when you get people walking up to you that know you as if you are family, and you're like, I've got no idea who you are, but we're still gonna talk. I even had that on the weekend here where some clubs start talking to me, and I'm like, I don't remember you, but they remember meeting me at some point.
Yeah, I'll say I'm Jimmy. Oh, I know who you are. I'm like, well, sorry. And he's, oh no, but we know who you are.
Yeah, and I've said to people, and people now, the Open and Niagara really kind of made me look like I was telling the truth, but just the Cornhole family, the ACL Pro family, are just so easy to talk to, because I still talk about my first time down in 2018 or on that balcony that was out in Cherokee there, talking with Timothy Pitcher for 45 minutes. First time I'd ever talked to him.
Yeah.
But it was like we've been friends for forever. Right. And
Yeah.
I think that's just the way almost every ACL Pro is to a person, that, we'll just sit and talk.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know of any ACL Pro that won't sit and talk with you. I mean, everybody is just as friendly, and I mean, I don't know. It's one big family.
Well, I think that's where other, ACL Pro Cornhole players are athletes because of what we have to do. But you look at every other sport, you don't get the access to the professional athletes that you do with Cornhole, with the ACL. You're never going to get the chance to sit and talk with LeBron about throwing layups or whatever, but you're going to be able to do that with Cornhole, with the with throwing a different shot or asking them, because that's what people said. They would go up and talk to you, and you were just fine to talk about how to do a different throw or whatever, or just talk about anything, right? And I think that's what brings people to the sport.
Yeah, because I mean, like you said, I have people come up to me all the time. How do you airmail? How do you hold the bag? I kind of hold the bag a little different than a lot of people. I mean, it's not my throw's not the throw for a lot of people, but I try to show them. What I'm doing. Maybe not exactly the way I'm holding the bag, but things that I do, things that I look at, just because I know my throw is not the throw for everybody. Mine's a soft pitch, and if you don't throw it right, it don't look right. It don't go right either.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the other thing with Cornhole, kind of like, I don't want to say the bad side, but whatever, is people will see Jimmy McGuffin throws Vipers, and he throws this way. I'm going to throw Vipers, I'm going to throw that way, and I'm going to be just like him playing. Probably not. You've almost, like I say, you got to be Goldilocks. You got to try every bag, try every throw till you find the one for you.
I'll give you an example of a kid that come up to me a long time ago. He come up to me when we was Stacy Moore had an event we was in South Carolina, I think. He done a game. It was flutes, cornhole, and beer pong. It was you had 3 different tournaments like you was playing in. There was 4-man teams, and we was doing that. You had to play. You partnered in one. I forget. You could only play with one person one time in that, in that event, in one setting. So we done that, and Jordan Campbell, he was a little bitty thing. He come up to me and he said, "You wouldn't think Jordan be little, but he wasn't." He come up to me and he said, "How do you airmail? How are you airmail?" And I sat with him and got to throwing with him and showing him just kind of. And like I said, he didn't hold the bag like me, but I was showing him the fundamentals of the arch and things like that. And he got to hitting them, and I don't know if he remembers that or not, but I do.
Well, and that's the thing is people, people think for an airmail, you got to go line drive at it. You've got that it's all about throwing an arc and letting the bag do the work. You're just throwing it. Let the bag do the work all the time. I think that's what people kind of forget sometimes is that, like I said, let the bag do the work.
Yep.
Whether you're sliding it up and in, you got to know your spots on the board, where to hit, where it can go. Is the simple way of putting it.
When I practice, and I tell everybody, when I started playing, and you might think I'm lying, when I started playing, I know for 4 years, I know for a fact it was 4 years. I think it was 5, but I threw every single day in that time. I didn't miss a day in that many. I threw, if I didn't go somewhere, I threw at home. I got bags and boards in my living room. So if I didn't go to a blind draw, I threw at home. And I threw bags every single day. And after the first year or so, I tried to throw at least 400 or 500 bags a day.
Yeah, well, that's one of the practice things that I've kind of came up with is that I'll throw 100 bags. I'll try to throw 100 bags, just 100 slide shots. I'll count how many I get in with there. I'll try to throw 100 block shots, right? Or try to throw 100 air mails. I'll hit 5, but I'll try to throw 100. But it's just kind of putting yourself in that scenario. You don't. For me, the virtual game wasn't for me because I almost need someone throwing against on that side. Yeah. That it's like Jamie Cowan said, he wanted to get like a mannequin and just put it on the other side of the board when he's throwing a virtual game, just so if there's somebody that he feels someone there, right? Yeah. But it's you just got to find different ways to practice.
Yeah, it's different throwing by yourself. I mean, that's what I mean when you're standing there throwing back like me. One night at home, I threw 400 bags. I threw 4 rounds of 100, and I threw all air mails. In the first round, I hit 86 out of 100. And then I hit 80, I think it was 84 or 89. And then I hit 94 and 96. The most I hit was 96 out of 100. But that's at home. It's harder to do that when you got somebody beside you, people walking by. It's not the same. When you're standing there by yourself, quiet, throwing that and just throwing it, it's different.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. So I'm guessing you're not a fan of the virtual game.
Never done it.
Yeah, that's the thing because up here when we really hit our big boom was after that weekend we're going to forget about in Cleveland. Everyone was throwing the virtual game. Then when we came back to the boards, a lot of the people that were really good at the virtual game were struggling with the other game because you didn't have that clean open board every throw.
Yep. That's a big thing. You can slide in bags, and be that good at sliding in bags. But when somebody throws a block, there's a block in the way, Yeah. Now what I do?
Well, even I know I'm going to be doing a video on it up here soon, but way back during the pandemic, we started playing, and we called it Cornhole Jenga because we would put 3 stacks of bags on the board, and you couldn't knock any of those bags off, and you had to still try and get in the hole or get as many points as you could. If you did knock a bag down, you lost points, right? Just, I want to say the stupid things you do, but just the different things you do to try and practice and get those different shots when so you don't have that open board.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
anything to make it different. I mean, just to give, that's what, like you said a while ago, you practice throwing the blocks, you practice throwing the air mails, you practice sliding. Yeah. I mean, it's different. I mean, that's something you need to do. When I started just practicing air mails. I mean, pretty much when I practiced, all I ever practiced was air mails. And I was thinking, if I can hit that hole, then I could hit anywhere on the board I want to. Yeah. You get a lot of different reactions when you hit the board. Your bag kicks this way, your bag kicks that way. So it took, after practicing like that, then I was like, now I don't know how to slide. Now I can't push.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you need to practice them all.
Exactly. Yeah. So before we wrap up here, I want to I know we know Ultra is your sponsor. What other sponsors do you have that you want to give shout outs to?
I have Samac Painting. That's my mom and dad's company, which my dad passed away back in October this past year. Not this past October a year ago. And I mean, he was a big fan too. He loved to go. He loved to watch. He had a great time. That if you ever go back and you watch the one where me and Josh played in Arizona, you'll hear somebody whistle and holler, and you'll hear them hollering when every bag goes in the hole. That's my mom and my dad was in the crowd. They had a little bit too much to drink, but they was having fun.
Well, exactly. I think that just to kind of sidetrack for a second, but that's what we need in cornhole is that, the fans to have more alcohol, some of the players to have less, but the fans to have more and have fun.
Yeah.
Like we want it to, like I even said with Trey on the one time, we want to have that darts kind of atmosphere that they have in Europe, right? Where you got the big ruckus fans.
Yeah.
The Duncan Clemmer airmail is kind of what I think we all kind of aspire to in any tournament.
Yep. Yep. The crowd goes crazy.
Exactly. Yeah. So any other sponsors?
Ultra and Samac is my sponsors this season.
So then what's up next for you? What's on the docket for coming up for Jimmy?
Me and Damon's getting ready for the South Carolina Shootout and Open. That's our next big one we're going to. December the 17th or something like that. I think we're having our a regional we're going to. But I don't know. I've kind of been slacking on practicing and playing, so it's time to get back into it. I mean, I got to get to practicing and playing. I'm going tonight to a blind draw. I haven't been going to many blind draws or nothing. Go to one about 15 miles from the house. They do that on Thursday nights, which about, I don't know, a month and a half ago, the airmail got up to $6,000 and I hit all 4 bags.
I wouldn't think anything else.
That was a good night there.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Well, and you say that about, not being able to practice because, and everyone forgets you have family, you have other jobs to do that you can't, like people are saying to me, oh, you haven't been going to tournaments. Yeah. I work every other week. I have a real life outside of cornhole.
Yep. And then trying to take care of everything, my dad's and trying to help keep everything going. And yeah, I'm ready to start playing again, start practicing and playing. And, I threw good this past weekend, but I've thrown better. I know I can throw better. So I'm ready to do it.
I hope we see you on some more live feeds, and I hope to see you up here. Maybe we'll get a chance to play against each other, and maybe I'll see if I can score at least 1 point. If I score 1, it's a win for me. You got to score like 21 or more.
Yes, sir.
Well, yeah, I want to thank you a lot for coming on for this year, and definitely have you on again. It's coming up here, maybe even before the World Finals, before you take down a World Championship.
That sounds good.
Okay, thanks for doing this.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Doug. There's Ultra.
Thank Jimmy for coming on, doing that there again, taking his time out of working with the cattle to come on, talk with me about his big win he had with the seniors singles at the Open there in Virginia Beach, and just seeing what's coming up with him, and hopefully can get his partner on, Mr. Damon Dennis, to maybe give the other side of that team's story on how they got together. But that's it for the show this week. Remember, use discount code Santa25 to get yourself 25% off of bags that are like this. Some fantastic local bags right there. Local bags. So that, and then check the ACL app for tournaments in your area, especially in Canada. I know Ontario, we got some new people. I know Nickel City and Twin Sioux, I think they're going to go together with a tournament coming up here. I know Cannington wants to go. I was having some more tournaments later on in December. Actually, thinking now, Cannington, you can't get in because it is, like almost every other tournament in Ontario, sold out. ACL tournaments are just, they're selling out within like a few weeks or even days sometimes they're up. So getting that there. We have some live streams coming up from the Central Conference tournament, first in January the 13th and 14th. We'll have our first junior singles tournament coming up here for that conference, and it's gonna be fun. Hope to get some of the people that are coming in for that tournament on the show. We've got some people from Quebec coming in for that Central Conference tournament, which I think is fantastic. I think so just like I said, check out the ACL app to find a tournament or a league or any other night in your area, and have some fun. Go have some fun playing cornhole, because if you're not playing ACL Canada, are you really playing cornhole? So yeah, with that, like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you here next week with another special guest. I know it's another. I pulled one more name out of the bucket for next week's show. Not going to say it now. Tune in next week, and you will find another big name guest, another ACL Pro, possibly. We'll see. So, like I said, with that, see you all next week. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you download on any of where you get audio podcasts if you want to do that as well. But just make sure, hit the subscribe. Give me 10. All I need is 10 people. Get us to that bag draw for these local warriors. That's all you got to do. Till next week.